The BC Archives is entrusted with preserving the history of our province. Andy is grateful when the public reach out with what might be an important contribution. And that includes a donation from the Girl Guides of Canada in 1989. Here's Veronica Cooper.
Girl Guides began in England in 1909 when girls demanded to take part in a Boy Scouts rally in London. Just 3 years later, in 1912, guiding made its way to Canada.
Victoria was one of the first locations to actually have a troop. So Victoria features prominently in the national history of girl guiding.
In 1989, the BC Council of Girl Guides of Canada made a significant donation to the BC Archives.
It's a collection of textual records as well as sound recordings, film, photographs, and also some complementary human history collections about the history of guiding in BC.
And it's reflected in this classic box from the 1950s, part of the human history collection of the museum.
So, of course, anyone knows about the Girl Guide cookies.
Which originated in 1927 in Saskatchewan, one leader trying to raise money for her troop to travel by train to camp.
So they were shortbread cookies. 12 cookies cost 10 cents, and they went door to door selling those cookies. This actually was my Pathfinder uniform when I was in guiding in the 1980s.
Badges identify the many skills learned by girls.
It wasn't until the 60s, though, that we started to see them on the badge sash. The idea being, of course, that they could be earned as well as traded.
Service is a strong component of guiding, and during World War I, guides stepped up.
Guides were involved as radio operators. They would roll bandages for the Red Cross. Of course, they do sewing and knitting.
After World War II, 243 guides, including 2 from Canada, joined Guide International Service in Europe.
And this was a group of older guides during about 1945 to 1950 who actually were involved in resettlement activities following the war.
Living the guiding principles of friendship and service.
This Week in History, brought to you by the Royal BC Museum, bringing British Columbia's stories together.